We're here with Alan Tudyk from Con Man, who just fixed my collar.
Yeah.
And tell me about how much of this is actually based on your true life experiences?
It's hard to separate.
Are you Ray Nearly?
No, I am not.
All of it. My true life experience, definitely my experiences going to cons. I was introduced to cons after Firefly was canceled and had never been to a con before. And so I entered this world, since we're at a convention, I entered this world as an innocent and an outsider. And so I saw things in a different way than maybe somebody who'd been going to them their entire lives. Mm-hmm. And so events, people I met, especially fan interactions, but then like exaggerated and seen through the eyes of someone who doesn't appreciate it. So that's where it changes. A good example of exaggerated would be in the trailer, there's a guy who's dressed like the Tooth Fairy.
Giorgio, help me to forget what happened to my village. I burned it down.
I have met plenty of people who saw Firefly and have been affected by Firefly in their lives in a positive way. And some of them have gone through some trauma or had a tough time, and Firefly helped get them through. Sometimes it's soldiers or somebody who was confined to a bed for a while for whatever reason. And so take that idea and then give it to somebody who used Spectrum, which is our Firefly, but in a ridiculous way. He thanks my character Ray because my Cho helped him forget what happened to his village. And what happened to his village was he burned it down. And you don't get nobody. That's just ridiculous.
Right.
It's tough to have sympathy for him, even like, why did you burn it down? Was this on purpose? Was this how did this come about? So take a kernel of truth or an experience that I had at conventions and make it funnier.
Now, as you've progressed over the last several years, conventions have gone from being like something that happens, in an abandoned Kmart to something that happens at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
How has that changed? Like, how has the experience changed for you?
I'm in the right hotel.
Because obviously you are in a different situation than just the fans who are here.
Right. Well, everybody seems to know conventions now, which is good for Con Man because I think a lot of people only experience cons from their TV. People who aren't natural sci-fi fans, who are getting their own education with sci-fi. Maybe they saw Avengers, and it was such a good movie. It doesn't, you don't have to be a fan of the comic book to like that movie. I don't think. Just they're the best action movies out there. So people are starting to know this world, and it's being reported on, and they watch it on their local news. But it's usually framed in, look how weird these people are. So in that way, it's become better for Con Man to come out because they'll have more viewers, people who want to see what goes on behind the scenes of cons, not just fans who want to see what's behind the scenes of cons. Mm-hmm. It's harder to find quirky cons. In the second, so it's the 5th, 6th, and 7th episode, my character Ray goes to a convention where half of it is a doll convention, like where people treat dolls like real people, and the other half was a sci-fi convention.
You were with the convention.
There's a doll convention? I'm in the wrong hotel.
I actually went to this convention. It was in Orlando. It doesn't exist anymore because corporate has come in. Yeah, and there's now this huge Orlando Comic-Con, which I also went to. We filmed at, which is a really good con, but the one that's more interesting to write about is the one that had dirt floors and was strange. But even at that same one, I did a cosplay. I got to judge a cosplay contest, which I've only been able to do twice. I think it's better going forward to maybe seek out the smaller cons, the ones that are run by people who are started out as fans and then it built from fan support into something big. It's harder to find those now.
There are so many conventions, like in any given month over the summer, it seems like there's always two fairly decent sized conventions that are contradicting each other.
Right.
how do you, as somebody who's hugely in demand, decide like, oh yeah, this is the one I got to go to? Is it always just like where you can meet the most number of fans, or is there things like no, but that venue was really good to me?
It depends. There are some people who throw conventions that are just you'd rather not work with them, and so that helps make your choice. A lot of times I don't know. I'll get invited. You have to be invited to the convention, and so you're judging whether or not. It's usually about schedule. Can I get there? Have I been there? That's for me. Like if I was in, I don't know, Kansas, and then 1 year, I'm not going to go back to Kansas. I like to put like 5 years between me and conventions. I like to repeat immediately because I feel like I've met all the fans who'd be interested in meeting me. I'll go someplace else. But it is weird. It's getting pretty saturated out there. I went to a convention in San Antonio. It was a Wizard World convention. And I met people, and they're like, wow, you just missed the biggest con, the big con of the year. It was last weekend. I was like, oh. And they said, and the one that's in 2 weeks is really good, too. Well, what are we doing, people? And it's these corporate... Wizard World is one. It's traded publicly as a huge company. And whatever that means, and they just want to expand and push a competition out. I mean, it's become a business, and also in that way, it's become predictable. As someone who's writing Con Man, and I'm writing more. It's such a rich world, though. I mean, fantasy is reality here, so you can play on that. In the second episode, Felicia Day appears as my assistant, and she has this uncanny ability to dress just like me no matter what it is. I can put on a hat and grab a bag and half zip my coat, and I walk out the room and she's dressed just like me. So in that way, the comedy can be a little bit, I don't want to say broader, but more fantastic.
Right. Well, I mean, do you think that having, and again, you don't want to say broad because it's often used as a derisive term, but having a base of humor that everybody can relate to helps to sell the stuff that's more niche-y and that's more like particular to an audience?
Say it again. So if
well, do you think that the broader jokes, so to speak, help to keep momentum going for casual viewers who might not get the con stuff as well?
Yeah, it's sort of there are some jokes that are meant for fans. There's one in the 5th episode where the 6th. I don't know, the 6th episode, I think, where I've met Tricia Helfer, and I've insulted her, and I've tripped her, knocked her down twice after first meeting her, and accidentally with my bag and my suitcase, and I say, I'm trying to send her a bottle of wine. I say she looks like the hottest Cylon in the new Battlestar Galactica. No, not her, because they were all hot on that show. And then I say, wait, she was a Cylon? Oh, right. It got pretty confusing in the last 2 seasons. Which, for fans, it got confusing in the last 2 seasons. It might upset some true fans, get defensive. But, so there are jokes like that are meant for fans. And then there are, broader, just jokes that appeal to anybody. Like the thing with but although, I have to say, a lot of people have come to me who like that line and don't know anything about Battlestar Galactica. They just think it's funny to be like, not her, no, the other one. But the thing with Felicia, where you can open a door and she's dressed just like me, even though my shirt's half tucked in and I'm wearing one shoe and all of that. That's just comedy for anybody. And the kissing thing with Tricia, there's a kissing bit where she only likes to be she likes being kissed on the cheek. And for her, it's the hottest thing. And so there are these odd, we make out in a TARDIS. So for fans, they like the TARDIS. But for anybody, this weird, I'm kissing her and she's like, yes, it's happening. I don't know what's happening. I'm confused about what's happening. So that's a long way to say yes.
Yes. Now, do you have any, because as somebody who watches a lot of television for work, I've seen a lot of these. Do you have any favorite Comic-Con episodes of other shows? Like when you look at like Bones and Psych and all of those, like seems like a lot of people have had them now.
Right. Well, I know the Castle one I liked. I was supposed to be in it, but I was doing Suburgatory at the time, and they couldn't make the schedules work. I like that one. I haven't seen those other ones. I mean, everybody wants to do it. It's a fertile subject. It's a fertile location to tell stories because, again, it's fantastic. People are fanatics. They're fans, and because of that, there's a lot of passion, and so you can play with that a lot. It's fun. It's fun to have people who are superheroes, even though they're not superheroes. You know, that's one of the great things about conventions. I've seen people who say that they're dressed like Wonder Woman. They're like, I'm Wonder Woman, and everybody around them goes, yep, you're Wonder Woman. That's a pretty great world, and you can, writing-wise, that's fun.
Now I have to ask because anybody who knows me knows that I am the biggest nerd in the world.
Oh, really?
For this one particular character, which is Booster Gold. And I don't know if you're aware, but Nathan recently said he wanted to be Booster in a movie. And then about 15 minutes later, they said, oh, there is going to be a movie with Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. And collectively, the internet has risen up and said, you have to be Blue Beetle. Would you like to do that?
Oh, that I would be Blue Beetle?
Yeah, they're like, no. Like, if Nathan is Booster Gold, you have to be Blue Beetle because you guys are awesome.
Well, that's great. If it's working with Nathan, I'm in. And also being a bug, for me, I'd like that. Roly-poly is nice. I would like to be one of those. That's what we called them back in Texas. But they're almost a beetle. Pill bug. Anyway.
Well, Blue Beetle was roly-poly at one point.
Really?
Yeah. That was a whole
origin story of this.
Well, you know Watchmen?
Yeah.
Yeah, Night Owl is based on Blue Beetle. And
Okay.
so at one point they decided Blue Beetle had to reflect that, so they gave him a pop.
Oh, nice.
So you wouldn't even have to work out for that.
Nolan North in Con Man mocapped Dr. Manhattan's penis in The Watchmen, in the movie.
So he's actually the most talked about part of that film.
Really? Yes. Yes, exactly. Well, he gave it mood, expression, foreskin. Yes. Again, it's an inside joke for people who know, but then it's also a ridiculous joke to have the second best motion capture artist in the world because people now know what mocap is.
Yeah.
And they happen to know it because of Andy Serkis. Whenever you say mocap, people say, oh, like Andy Serkis, which annoys the second best motion capture artist in the world because all he does are monkeys. Could he have done Manhattan's penis? Maybe if he had a monkey for a dick. That's how he feels about it.
So they gave us the wrap-up sign. I'll give you the floor for one final thing. Is there anything you really want to make sure to get out there that I haven't given you a chance to say?
Well, I'm going to plug Con Man on Vimeo because I want people to watch it. It's funny. And I love... I'm a character actor, and I love writing characters that are extreme and funny. Mindy Sterling, her character Bobby, who plays Ray Nearly's convention agent, is hysterical. Nolan North is hysterical. Just that the guy Greg Wilson, he's a stand-up artist, stand-up comic. He stands up for his art. He did the Tooth Fairy who burned down his village. Like all of these insane little characters put together, it's very funny. So if you value things that are funny, which I do very much, then please watch Con Man because it'll make you laugh. And that's worth something.